Hi everyone. I like it here, it's nice. Yes, we're still waiting for some people, but we're going to do a bit of audience analysis. I love that. So, I mean, we're tech authors, so we need audience analysis. And yeah, let's start. In the meantime, I can talk about myself. So that's me, and you might recognize Gosha there as well. So it was taken, this picture, last year. Actually, all of them were from last year. And basically, as Gosha mentioned, I'm a tech author for 7 years now. Actually, next Monday is going to be the 7th anniversary of my first working day. So we can celebrate beforehand, you could say. And I've been at ARM for about 27 months now, so 2 years and a bit. And that's the longest time I spent at a company, so that's quite rare for me. And I'm responsible for the maintenance documentation projects, basically. So when I say maintenance, I mean like not the actual writing, and that's what the audience analysis is going to be about. So I think most people are coming back now. So hands up, we're going to play hands up game. Put your hands up in the air if if you're doing like regular writing most of the time in your job. So like you're documenting features and that's your main responsibility. Okay, that's roughly a third of the group, okay. Hands up if you're doing something else like tool support, I don't know, customer service, stuff like that. Okay, a bit fewer people. And then if you're managing a group, so like you're a team lead mainly or something like that, then hands up again. Okay, we've got a good mix, I think. If you're into the maintenance side of things, that's going to be, this talk is going to be like more for you, or it's going to be like more information about the stuff we do. So fortunately, I don't do like regular writing for like 2 years now. So how this talk came together, I want to talk a little bit about that. So the new title of it is actually not the story of the 33 miners, but it's more like the ARM developer project, because the 33 miners idea is the so-called narrative framework, and I just want to kind of give a shout out to the guys who's done the girlfriend idea, the teenage girlfriend idea from yesterday. I mean, I was trying to put together something similar, and I just couldn't. So you guys, just awesome. This idea was coming to me by basically looking at the project I was working on, and I said, well, actually, it is slightly similar to what happened to these miners in Chile. So the main story is basically that there was a mining accident in Chile, and miners got trapped, and then there were different companies, international companies, trying to help these people out. And fortunately, they were actually saved after 2.5 months. And the interesting thing about this rescue mission was that there were 3 different teams, so Plan A, B, C. 3 different companies worked and tried to save these people. And fortunately, Plan B was successful. And how it connects to the ARM developer project, well, we had many different ideas about how to improve or create a new website for ARM. And it was a bit similar to the mining accident in the sense that we had good ideas and bad ideas, and in the end, some of them worked. And that's what basically helped us put together the new web platform. So what's the story behind ARM Developer? So ARM wanted to have a new web platform because the old one was, as you can see on the top, it's a bit 90s. Looks like it's not from the Web 2.0 era. And the one under that with the nice 16 by 9 frame, it's much better. It's nice, shiny. It has all kinds of extra information in it. And we also wanted to improve the how our document libraries look. So if you look at, again, the top one, on the left, those are the kind of main publications ARM has. So ARM has about, I don't know, a couple of thousand documents, and then it has, all of those documents have different revisions and stuff like that. So we talk about tens of thousands of documents. And to maintain those, well, that's hard work. So what are the actual benefits of this new web platform? So as I said, it has the new HTML5 framework. So if you go to the website, you can actually look at it on your phone. And then our idea was basically to enable the content to our audience in different formats. And, well, HTML5 is great for that. We also have the faster publishing cycles. So the thing is, just going back in the previous slide, with Info Center, which is on the top, you actually only have one entry point for the content, and that is, if you're a tech author, you publish stuff onto it, and then it goes there. But with the developer, basically, you can have a CMS, actually multiple CMSs, from which you can pull the content and just publish it on the site. And the good thing is that you don't need to be a tech author to publish onto it. And we try to enable other teams to, publish their content, basically. And I'm going to talk about that like later when I actually talk about the project. There we go. Alternative deliverables. Well, that's it, really. It's not just tech authors who create content, but developers, engineers, whatever. And they want to show that to their audience, too. So we try to put that together. And also the search and taxonomy functions are better with the developer. Some of it is still in development, so I actually prepared a demo about how it works, the site currently. But some of it is more like proof of concept still, and then hopefully it's going to get better by the time it's available to a wider audience. So what we've done was we've actually created a project to improve the website, and the first phase was the public beta phase, where we published some stuff on it and then shared it with a kind of limited audience. And then we improved the website, and then finally we decided to migrate all of the content, and we're actually in that currently in that phase. So we're in phase 3 now. Okay, so let's see how it worked out. So the initial phase was the closest to my mining accident example, as in we had loads of different things at once, and we tried to do as much as possible in a limited time frame. So there was a web development team doing the actual web development. We had a group responsible for the taxonomy, and then there was me and another information developer doing the actual document conversion. Just before we go on, why do we need a taxonomy group? So ARM has loads of products, and up until this point, they lived in different spheres, silos, whatever you call them, and there was no central governance group which said, okay, for these types of documents, this is the kind of taxonomy information or label, metadata label we should use. So because of that, things were a bit messy. And now that, since we've got this group, everything's getting kind of more clear over time. So the scope of this initial work was it's 300 technical documents. So we talk about, I don't know, maybe 10,000, no more than that, 100,000 pages, something like that. So the good thing is all these documents actually existed, and all we had to do, well, it was kind of hard labor initially to manually convert these documents. So we looked at the HTML structure of it, we ran a script through it, and we tried to basically clean up that HTML structure. And we had different processes for DITA documents, we had other processes for FrameMaker documents. That was the two main formats we initially worked with, because that's what ARM is using for technical documents. And also the difficulty was that as a tech writer, I didn't do that much debugging until this point. So I tried to learn basically what are the kind of usual errors I I bump into when I convert a document. So imagine like, these are formatting issues really. So like, let's say you've got a H1 tag, which is like used in HTML, but then that H1 tag is actually H3 when it's in FrameMaker or stuff like that. And you don't really understand why it's happening, and then over time you find out how the conversion of the, rendering of the original document happens, and then you basically work with that document and you convert it into something else. So again, there are so many kind of different examples I could use, but that like heading levels or inline elements, things like that. If you work with semantic markup, you know that it can be quite tricky sometimes. So because of these initial problems, we said, okay, we need to identify how we can improve the process, because if we're going to do manual migration, it's going to be, well, it's not scalable, first of all, so you need more people to do the same work, and it's not efficient. So we said, okay, where can we improve the process? So first of all, we sat down with the development team and said, okay, we've been tasked to do the document migration, you've been tasked to do a website, how can we work together? And we actually sat down, had like longer meetings and talked about like how to improve their CSS, how to improve, that's the cascading style sheet, how to improve the website itself, how to improve document checks. So like initially there was no link checking and stuff like that. And the good thing was that they had the knowledge to how to develop a website, and we had the kind of ideas like what's important for a document, what's important when I'm looking at a document as a user, and what do I need to find. So yeah, we worked together with them, and then we also went back to the taxonomy team, the one I mentioned, and we basically said, we looked at the spreadsheet you provided us, there are small errors in it. We also talked to other groups who want to publish their content, and they said, well, we're missing certain products. Can we actually amend this list? So in this sense, as an information developer in this project, we were more like business analysts, because we had to like connect different groups of people and explain to them how they can go about the documents. Well, their documents or their website, depending on which group we talk about. And then finally, as I mentioned, we looked at the HTML files, both for FrameMaker, Ditta, and then later other formats, and said, okay, how can we actually streamline this conversion? So what happened was, we actually managed to improve the user experience quite nicely. Both in terms of the website started to look better. I mean, we are not UX people, but we said if we want to have a content area, like on a mobile phone, then it should be wider than like 500 pixels or something. So these were like initially small changes, but they made very good impact. Also the backend checking, so like link checking and other things improved quite nicely. So like at the first phase of the project, if we uploaded a document to the site, the checker that has done like the backend checking just said, you've got an error in your document. And that was the error message. Like, you know, what's the error? What kind of error? Didn't tell me. And then basically then we identified what type of errors we can have. And then the tool started to say, yeah, you've got missing taxonomy, you've got, I don't know, missing links, missing images, and all these things started to come together. The automated script that was developed also in-house also removed many manual steps. So we tried to initially remove as many steps as possible, but the script also had some limitations. So we had to like find a middle ground, as in, okay, what are the things we can definitely identify in all documents that we want to remove, and what are the things that the script can do. And then the site went live. So it's been live for almost a year now. Well, actually more than a year now. And now we're in the best part, which was phase 2. And I just call it improve and deliver phase. And it's basically because we've done two things. We've improved stuff and we delivered stuff. As I mentioned, we tried alternative deliverables, so like Doxygen and Confluence outputs. And in this case, the difficulty was that up until this point, I just talked about technical documents, like the ones that our tech writers are writing. So ARM has about 60, 70 technical writers, and then and loads of engineers, of course. And up until this point, we just dealt with their documents, basically, the ones that they've created. And then from this point onwards, we started to reach out to developers and said, if you have any documents we can test on this system, just let us know. And slowly but steadily, requests started to come in. And with the difficulty with like Doxygen and Confluence was that there was an output already, so they created something in HTML that we had to work with. And then after that, we had to identify whether they need to improve the output, or is it something we can cleanse with our script and just upload to the site. And also, just one more thing, when it comes to documents in the new platform, there is an index file which is basically driving the whole engine, you could say. So if you have an index file which is correct and contains all the topics and everything you want to publish, then it's going to work. And if the index file is wrong, then it's just going to fail. That's it. So we try to explain that to people and improve their index file initially. And if the index file was good, then we were halfway through. So that's how it basically went. We also started doing parallel publishing. So because at the time we didn't have like a specific HTML5 output, we were actually requested to do those outputs not just to the info center, that's the old site, but to the new site as well. And initially that was a problem because people didn't know how this whole publishing process works. But again, once we explained that, things got a bit easier. The conversion process was improved, so we had fewer errors and it was actually done quicker. Again, it was partially done because of the script improvements, which is like the big conversion script, and also because we got better outputs. So whatever people gave us, we had less hassle that we had to go through with it. And now we actually come to the waste reduction, which is more of a summary of what I said so far. These delivery jobs, so when I said parallel publishing, I actually meant these delivery jobs. So when we've done parallel publishing, we explain to people what are the requirements to push stuff to the site. So that's like have a valid index file, include the taxonomy information, look at other things as well. And people actually knew what to request. So, instead of like bouncing emails back and forth, if you like communicate clearly that these are the things I need, and people, come back to you and say, here are the stuff, you can just point them to the email, like the initial email or other communication to say, this is what I need, please double check it. The other thing was, which is sometimes controversial, so I still think we've done a good job, but other people might disagree. We didn't fix everything at once. So we always said, let's just collect errors for some time. Let's do some extra manual editing on the converted documents, rather than going to our script guy and say, listen, we found this small error and another small error and then another one. So we collected 3, 4, 5 errors and then went back to him and said, listen, we have these errors, can you fix them in one go? Again, I talk about small things like inline elements not working, broken links, that's more of a bigger issue, so you probably fix that straight away. But if it's a formatting issue, you can live with that. The document's going to work. People might say, well, I don't like the tables that way, but you can just say, yeah, we know that, we're going to fix that. And also with as I mentioned, when we try to improve the taxonomy information and when we try to improve the website, we actually had to have a direct connection with the dev team. So I think even if, like, we were actually geographically in another office, roughly like, I don't know, 2 miles, yeah, 2 miles from where they were. And even that, you know, you can try and make the effort to walk up to them, talk to them, take the company bus or whatever, take a ride. And then basically when we started doing the debugging, it became a shared task. So we didn't join their Scrum team like officially, but we were aware of what they were working on, they knew what we were working on, and we actually shared some of the debugging tasks. And it was good. I felt like a developer, you know, that's like a promotion already. Okay, so improvement examples. So as I said, the taxonomy team defined the different sets of information for products, audience, and technology information. I mainly talk about product information here because that's the kind of main stuff. And what we managed to achieve was that we went back to the technical writers who actually authored these documents and explained to them, well, you know, we're actually adding this information to new documents now because the website, the developer platform needs it. Can you do that information into the source documents? And it was basically saving time on both ends, because if we don't have to if we don't need to add this information, we save time on our end. And if the authors put that information into the source documents, the ones that get converted, then it's going to stay there forever. So we don't have to do the actual extra information adding ever again. Okay. What's that? Simple HTML5. Oh, there we go. Okay. Because the formatting was defined on the website level, so the CSS, as I mentioned, was developed for the developer platform separately. We didn't have to deal with the formatting. So, you know, we got a bunch of files and it was saying, you know, I don't know, numbers or tables should be in green color. We just scrapped that. We said, no, we don't care about colors. We have one uniform look defined in the website. So inline formatting, custom CSS, just forget about it. And actually, most of the conversion job was basically about identifying what are the kind of block elements people just included because they needed it in their old output. And we could just tell them, you know, you don't need to worry about it. We're going to get sorted. We're just going to get this sorted. And actually, people didn't mind. They, you know, for them, like, especially for developers, documentation is an extra job. So if they can just publish it, or sorry, just give it to us and we publish it, they're happier. And also coming back to the editing side, when it comes to publishing to Info Center, you need to go through a long publishing cycle. So you author the stuff in a CMS, and then someone reviews it, that gets approved, that gets published, and then someone actually uploads it to the site. So it's like a 5-step process. With developer, it was much easier because we said, well, these documents are already approved, so if you notice small differences, change it in the source content, and we're going to change it on the website. So people basically said, oh, okay, so if I've got typos or anything, or I just want to change one sentence, yeah, that should be fine. And, you know, instead of going through the whole process, we said, well, we can do it just by basically saying, I changed the source, change the output. And they didn't even have to upload it again, because we know that next time they do a full publish, it's going to be there. So in the meantime, we can just do a fix on our end, basically in the output. And actually, people like this because, yeah, document gets improved, they're happy. And then finally, we're in the current phase of phase 3. And as far as I know, everything is on track. So I left the office on Wednesday afternoon, and on Wednesday afternoon, everything was on track. So let's hope it's like that still. And now the task is, so as you remember in phase 1, we actually worked on 300 documents, and now the task is actually to convert more than 1,500. And someone, I think, was talking about, again, referring back to previous talks, I like that. Second day is better. Referring back to someone else, someone mentioned the importance of data and analytics in terms of how you identify what you need in terms of documents. And when we decided on what to actually migrate over to the platform, we looked at site visits in the Info Center platform to see what people are actually reading. And we found that some of the older docs, like stuff created back in 2012, 2013, it was actually much more important to people. They were like trunk documents that people revisited all the time. And we said, okay, so we need to migrate those definitely, and then identified other documents as well. And yeah, so far so good, you could say. And now we're going to do a short demo of the website. I'm just going to explain like what's the actual improvement, how we got there. But again, the key takeaway will be still like the reducing waste stuff. I just want to like show you an actual example of it. There we go. And before we go on, just stop here for a moment. So this is how the Info Center site looks. And on the top, you have a small search bar. Again, you can see it's not very well placed. And then on the left, you've got all the content, basically, what we have. And if we go on, there we go. We're just going to find the Cortex M3 document. So that's how it looks if you're trying to find it currently. You're like, yeah, I've got this information. Yeah, got these. Oh, there we go. That's it. And then the document opens in this content window. All the information is there. But let's how it looks in developer. So there is a search bar on the top. We're not going to talk about that. And then it's responsive design, so small resolution, Cortex M. You can read all the stuff about other stuff, M3. And then it's nice and shiny. You've got an overview. Oh, you've got the TRM here. Yeah, but there are other stuff, white papers, anything else, you know. We open the TRM, and then bang, already in the document, and nice and shiny, HTML5 responsive design. So if it was on a higher resolution, then it would have been like, I could have seen the actual, what's it called, table of contents already. And actually, it's good that it's here. So coming back to the search function, I didn't want to demo the search function, but actually that's something we definitely want to make it like the best thing in the new platform. Because with the taxonomy information, you can actually filter stuff based on, you know, like I'm interested about just documents, I'm interested about white papers, I'm interested about other sets of information, and you can do any kind of free text search. So like in Info Center, you actually, there we go. So you actually need to define what kind of search you want to do. So like on the top it says all types of search, but you actually, if I want to do a search, let's say on document numbers, it's not going to find anything because I need to say I'm specifically searching for doc numbers, stuff like that. But on developer, you just use this free text search and it's going to understand whether you're searching for a doc number, whether it's a title, so it's a more sophisticated search. And also we're trying to use some sort of SEO information too, so like search engine optimization. So we're trying to create sites which are ranking higher on Google, first of all, and second of all, they are understood as being important content. So that's what we're working on currently, and thanks for your time. It's time for Q&A.
Thank you, Adam. Questions? We do have one question here. Another one here. So one is here from Pavel.
Hi, I have a question about the taxonomy that you mentioned a couple of times.
Yeah.
So were there any limitations on the tool side in creating the taxonomy that you wanted to create? Or did you have unlimited, possibilities in how would you like to see the?
You mean like what's the limitation, as in how we decided to limit it, or?
No, how you wanted it to be, and were there any limitations?
I see. Yeah. So it's in terms of the product taxonomy. So that's the most important. We decided to go for a 4-level taxonomy. So ARM has 6 or 7 main product areas, and those product areas are like the main group. And from there, you go down to like you've seen in the example, we go down to like processor level and then specific processor. So, and then because there are certain types of processors like video and graphics and other type, because of that, you can have, that's like the second level. So that's how it goes down to the 4 level.
All right, thank you.
Hi, thank you for the talk. I have 2 questions actually. The first is about the feedback bar that you had on the right. Do you get a lot of feedback from readers?
Yes, so that's actually a new feature, and some of them. So I'm not responsible for that feedback, but we're trying to use that to report document bugs basically, and all kinds of other stuff as well. But we got, I think, about more than 100 pieces of feedback info in the last 30 or 60 days.
Okay, that's great. And the second question, because I'm not a technical writer, could you explain to me the concept of taxonomy? Because I'm not sure if I understand correctly. Is that database of keywords and meanings of the?
Yes, so it's basically a set of metadata, and it's semantically categorized. So whatever is applicable to a certain piece of or type of information, that's one group. If it's another type, that's another group. And the important bit is that it's structured. So that's why it's taxonomy. Folksonomy would be unstructured. It's like keywords in YouTube.
Okay, thanks.
Any more questions? One more here.
Go on.
Can you say something about the technology that stands behind the front-end documentation that we saw before?
You mean like the website?
Which technology and what the tools that already exist you used?
I'm not developing the website, so so I can't answer that. I'm more on the actual documentation side, as in I know which type of tools we use for documenting stuff, not how it's actually going to end up over there.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, I think we're good now. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Thank you.